Why religion and politics doesn't work to solve your problems. So I went in on this in another video, but let's be more clear about why religion and politics are both just not great ways to solve your personal issues in life. And for some people, religion can be, because I have witnessed people who have just come out of prison who go to a religion like Christianity, and then they find better solutions, they find more of a moral bearing, they're a better person in society after joining a religion. So it can definitely help somebody, especially in the first steps of like taking accountability and just being a better person to others. Being obedient is the one thing that I dislike about what religion actually does. But religion was put in place, and there's lots of facts behind this, to enslave people, really, like the general populace, because there have always been these elite families that have been in power. And in order to keep these people who are just ordinary citizens controlled, it's not really just about controlling them either, like, but in order to keep them like controlled and working and still productive and be able to function and not be so depressed and demoralized that they're not even participating in society, that what the religion is there for, that to make you feel like you need to be a good citizen, you need to be obedient, you need to give back to your communities, which in some places they talk about schools and churches and all this, right? And those are the hubs that are controlled by the government. And even though they say religion and church are separate, and they're separate in state, it's not true, because like, well, I've already witnessed it. Like when we were doing the elections and I had a part-time job there, we were working out of a church. But like even nonetheless, the church and people like the Pope and like higher up people in religion are connected to the people in the government as well. And if you don't know about the girl who did research on all the presidents and she connected them all back to the same bloodline and said they were all related, then just look her up, or do a little research. But this stuff is out there. It is not conspiracy anymore. It's not conspiratorial. It once was, but now that the files are out, now that we have long gone past the COVID era, people have realized that a lot of this stuff that people used to complain about and sound like conspiracy theorists about are true. But it's not just that, it's just because we've seen things, we've researched things, so we know what the elite people in government and in society are all about. Not really just all about, but they literally, if they are religious, because most of the time they're not really religious in a sense where they believe in a good God, but they believe in a God that has told them that they are from a bloodline that needs to keep the rest of the populace in line and harness the energy of the regular citizen, harvest that energy as well. So like they're producing it with these plantations, with these jobs, these big corporations that are owned by the same families that are in power. So like if you have a job, even at a public school, which is run by the Rockefellers, all of that stuff is giving energy to the society and to the structure that has enslaved us as citizens. You using your legal name and having a credit card or having a mortgage, paying rent, anything with your legal name, social security, like alienable rights, becoming a citizen, all that stuff is a system that has been put in place long ago to keep these elite families, these bloodlines above us, right? This is how they keep their money. They pass down their estates, they pass down the trust fund babies, right? They pass down this money to their children so their kids don't really have to work a regular societal job. They usually start companies and corporations or work for their family businesses, right? And so everybody else to them is just like chattel. It's just, cattle and unimportant, because in the Jewish traditions, they teach that Goyim is us, the rest of society, the regular citizens, the people who have a job, and the Jewish people are like the holy people and whatnot that were given this gift of control and power by God, basically, and that's why they can keep doing it over and over again. And there's so many things tied to that, like how we agree to that. just by using the legal name and continuing perpetuating that system. But sometimes, a lot of times, most people don't know how to work around that. So it's not like I'm telling you to be depressed about you being like a slave as a citizen, because technically we all are anyways. Like you can really be a slave in your own life too, to your own emotions, to your own, actions and stuff. So that's why it's important to take full responsibility, and why religion, even though they say religion and church are separate, right? Church and state are separate. It's really not, because like the religion is also a form of mind control to keep you obedient, to make you feel like you need to stay in line, because basically being a bad citizen would not be acceptable in religion, right? Like they teach you to be like obedient, literally. So I'm not saying like be a rebel and be crazy and exude and release tension and anger and jealousy and anxiety and depression and just like shame, or hate. Any of these like things are obviously not great. So there's like a whole spiritual aspect to this realm, to this reality, that doesn't abide by religion, right? It doesn't put a God, or especially like a white person, above you to say that you need to worship this image, because this human can do things that you humans can't. He was special. He resurrected from the dead. And I'm not talking bad about Christianity, because that has really helped certain people, especially in my family. I've seen it, But that can be the first step. The next step is just knowing that you're not going to put a Lord, you're not going to put a Savior, you're not going to put a King, anything above you. Not to have an ego mentality, because your ego, like this personality that you were born into in this world, is not that important in the spiritual realm. The spiritual realm is all about connecting to everything, to nature, to other people, to your environment, to a realm that a lot of people can't perceive, especially in religion. So religion doesn't allow you to perceive this realm either, because you're basically being controlled by the God that you worship, and he's the king and you are just a servant. And so do you really want to be a servant in eternity? To like, it's just like being, it's just like being a citizen in government and then having that God over you. It's the same concept. It is a mind control tactic. And the CIA, they know this, like once you know what the elites know, what the people who are really powerful and control a lot of this stuff know, like when you know what they know, then you just know. Like it's just there, it's in plain sight. It's not something that you have to like try and perceive. Like once you connect to with that universal wisdom, when you connect to like unity and like universal laws of just why you should be positive, not all the time, like we can have emotions, but why you should like only really give other people positive emotions and not cause people to be triggered, or like anything that is like considered negative. Those positive traits, those good things that we do, are actually good karma that we give back to ourselves later. Like don't just do things because you want good karma later. You're supposed to do things because you know what the reason, you have good, you're level-headed and you understand why, so like that's where intelligence comes into, right? Wisdom is intelligence. Wisdom can come from the spiritual realm, from like absolutely nothing, right? Like an unknown realm. You can just like know things sometimes. Like once I was in high school, I was taking a health class and the teacher was asking like, hey, how many bones does the human body have? And I swear to God, I had no idea. I just guessed. I guessed a freaking number, and when he called on me, it was correct. So I don't know if I had learned this maybe in my childhood and my brain retained it, but I didn't know how to access that information and it came out. So I believe that's like a spiritual thing. You just know, you bring it out of thin air. That reasoning, that wisdom comes with like a lot of balancing yourself, like prayer, meditation. And I know you're thinking like prayer, that's like religion, right? But when you like really just honor this world, right? This life that you're given, because it's so beautiful to be able to wake up in the morning and have a choice to do something with your day, and it's different every day. Obviously, unless you have a job, which is where and slavery comes in, but you can have a job and still keep a balance, right, in spirituality and everything, by prayer and meditation and just honoring yourself and everything around you, you know? You can really connect to that invisible wisdom, to that invisible universal energy that is God, that is consciousness, right? Like that's what we're talking about. That connects you straight to God. Instead of having a religion and now you have an image of a God, and then that is the go between you and God, and then you've never even heard God speak. I hear myself talk all the fucking time, and you already know that if you like talk to yourselves or even you have thoughts in your head, like we do it all the time. Who else is talking to you? It's not someone else's voice, right? It's your own, because you are the one who's connecting to the universal wisdom. And so if you ever see anybody who's like just like connected and they just say things and you feel like, damn, they know their shit, like I feel that that's true, because they are connected. They are connecting constantly to this energy, because once you abandon it, you will go off and be like 100% in the matrix. Like there will be days where I don't do meditation and prayer, and like I realize like I am being consumed by the matrix. Like I'm doing this day to day, like going to school, soccer mom, like going to karate, like where my time, and then cooking, and then gardening, and like all these different things can consume us. But that is the physical reality. So when you like connect to the spiritual unknown uh, realm of wisdom, then you'll know like things will just come to you, things will connect, you'll be smarter, you'll be more intelligent. Like I said, you'll randomly have answers to things that you don't even know how you have the answer, but they'll be accurate, and you can confirm those things by like physical phenomenons that happen, right? And there's different ways of like signs that come along and confirm things for you. That is God speaking to you. You don't need this middleman. What religion does by keeping you mind controlled and keeping you lowered, which is why the word Lord is Lord, because it lowers you. You're lowered by that thing, right? So it's an etymological thing. But this is why I'm saying politics and religion can't help you, because if you give up your responsibility and your future and your rights and everything to something else above you, like, a president, a god, whatever, then you're already losing your power. You're not standing in your throne where you need to be the one to control your mind and your decisions, not controlling other people, but controlling your reactions, not having triggers. I say this all the time. So these are the ways that you can become sovereign or connect to your inner wisdom that will always guide you to a better place. Solving your problems starts with internal reasoning, internal reflection, because you can't fix things on the outside in the external physical world without going inside of your own mind and your own heart to understand things, right? Because that is where the connection is to God, your temple. This is another thing that my teacher has said, like religion does not teach you how to honor your body, your temple. Your body is your temple. And a lot of these religions have taken words from the original ancestors, and they've changed these words to make you think something different. And it's that mental slavery that begins there with the religion too and stuff. So like let's not even get more into politics, but I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like I'm using my legal name, I have a few credit cards. I'm not there yet, but there is going to be a place of sovereignty where I don't have to do that, or I may not have to, or I can find my own way, unique way of doing it. And there's other ways, by passing your estate on to your children. Go to a notarizer, let's talk about estate planning. So that way when you pass, the government doesn't just take your things, because like I said, you don't really have freedom in this realm if you're using your legal name and the system of law and commerce and getting a paycheck and paying taxes and expecting a retirement. That is all, the system that has been put in place to keep us obedient beings, to keep this perpetual going to work and working for these corporations, working at these schools, being in a system that does enslave you, because you're only gonna make X amount and you ain't gonna make more. Okay, because like unless wages go up, and in that case you get a 25-cent raise, right? So like you know what I'm talking about. But that's what I mean by like just honoring yourself, being responsible, knowing the truth. You can research a lot of these topics that we talked about, like the bloodlines, the presidents, when religion started. You need to start connecting the dots with all the religions and what they all have in common, and maybe connect more with that instead of choosing a religion, because it's just like politics. When you choose a side, you're not owning the whole totality, the everything, the whole story. You're only honoring one side of the story. So whether you're red, you're blue, whatever you believe in, you're saying the other side has no moral value, right? So when we talk about immigration, right, that is a big red and blue issue. But at the end of the day, like those are human rights, but at the end of the day, we don't have rights because we're citizens. And even a Marine Corps, someone in higher up military, can be taken away from a courtroom, from, like certain meetings that they have to make policies for. They can be taken away for speaking up, especially against the war that's going on right now. If you speak up at all against your government, it doesn't matter what rank you are. If you're still a citizen, they can take your right of freedom of speech. They will take that away from you. They tackled a guy, it was on some video, and the girl was like, "I can't believe you guys are acting like this. You're robots." They tackled some guy for disagreeing with whatever policy was going to happen with the war in the Middle East and everything. And he was like, we're funding them. What is going on here? And they removed him from the courthouse or courtroom or the meeting, whatever it was, whatever it was. But I've seen several videos of these people in military trying to speak up because they see the corruption. They're connecting the dots, and they're like, why are we subjecting to this? Like, why are we enslaving ourselves and going to war and sending people to die for these elite people in power who stay in power? They don't really care about the citizens. But yeah, let me not make this long-winded. That is why religion and politics does not help you. You are only seeing one side of the story. Like I said, if you choose one religion, you're not seeing the truth in them all. You're saying, my God is better than yours. And that's like almost like racism. Like, my race is better than yours. Like, cut the BS, cut the middleman from you and God, and connect to wisdom. Okay? So, peace out, guys.